Hello, welcome back to Technical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger on May 24th, 2022. Nowadays, a lot of schools, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu primarily, start to weed out takedown as part of the training. In fact, you are seeing more uh, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments that don't even do takedown anymore. They start on their knees or in grip and stuff like that. Now, this actually makes sense from a business point of view because honestly, when you train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA and similar style of martial art, one of the biggest happenstance, one of the biggest reasons when people get injured it's usually when takedowns go bad. The person who's doing the takedown have the other person fall on top of them, or when they go for the takedown, they hit their face in the other person's knee or elbow, or the person who got taken down fall uh, incorrectly, didn't break fall, or fall awkwardly and break a shoulder, break a rib, or twist their arm. You name it, it happened. The kind of accident that related to takedown is just countless. Okay, I myself injured people during takedown, and I have gotten injured badly during takedown before. So from a competition and school's point of view, takedown is just a big liability. So this is why takedown has been slowly weeded out in the past few years. However, with all that said, taking away takedown, I can't even believe that's a proper sentence. Taking away takedown from your training is doing yourself a big disfavor because if you know how to prevent yourself being taken down, if you know how to land a good solid takedown, it can be the game changer in a self-defense situation. This is why, even though it is highly dangerous to learn takedown, it is something that I am very adamant about teaching my students. Slowly and carefully, of course, but it is something that need to be learned because as most of you have doubtlessly heard, like 95% or something like that, 95% of the fights end up on the ground. Why? It's because most people when they get tired of throwing punches, when they're trying to stop you from hitting them, they immediately try to go for the grab and try to wrestle you to the ground so you can't hit them. And most of the time when people are going to fight you, it's going to be someone bigger than you, someone heavier than you, or maybe they have friends on the side, which means if they can grab you and restrict your movement, or even throw you down to the ground, they got a definite advantage. So learning takedown and in a very direct sense, learning how to not get taken down is a key to prevent things like that happening in a fight and maybe even turn the table on the person. So today, I want to go over with you guys very quickly 5 basics. We like to do basics on these videos because there's really not no way to do something very complicated when it's just me here and it's on a YouTube video. But 5 basics that will make your single leg takedown a lot better. If you have struggled with your single leg takedown, if you find that yourself always get really tired when you do your single leg takedown and you don't even know if it's going to work, then keep these 5 things in mind and it will enhance your single leg takedown a lot. First, For those who don't know, that in layman's term, what is a single leg takedown? It is, well, when you grab someone's one leg and try to dump them onto the floor. Okay? Most of the time, it comes in two forms. One is when a person throws a kick at you and you grab their leg. Okay? That is actually a lot harder than it sounds in a real fight. Okay? In real fight, people don't kick like this. In the fight, people go kick like this, right? Really quick. And it's going to be really hard to grab that. The second form, the more common seen single leg takedown, is when you notice that the person you're fighting is standing with one leg in front and one leg in the back, like a lot of us taught in our fight stand. One leg in front, one leg in the back. It's left leg front, right leg back, in my case. And you want to throw them down on the floor by diving in, grabbing their leg, pick up the leg, so now they're on one leg, and then you can trip them or kick their other leg so they fall down. But as most of you that have tried single leg takedown before or have been practicing, you know that it is quite difficult sometimes. Because what's going to happen is as soon as you dive in for that person's leg, the person even sprawl on top of you, they'll either sprawl on top of you, or they'll bring their other knee up into your face, or they just drop their weight onto that leg and you can't move them. It's like trying to pick up a mountain, right? So, with that in mind, single leg takedown, basic number one, you want to hit the person first. Now, obviously, if this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, this is not going to work for you because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're not supposed to hit people, right? But we are talking about strictly in the self-defense situation. In a self-defense situation, I am not going to try to dive in and grab that leg when just like that. I'm not going to try to deadlift that leg, okay? Because that's a lot of work. Like I said, all the person have to do is drop their weight onto that leg, and you can't move them, okay? So it would be much easier if even if I before I go for the leg, I pop them in the chest and I go for the leg. Why? Because when I hit them in the chest, the person have a backward sway. They're moving back, which means their weight is concentrated on the back leg. So when I hit them, they go back. The front leg is a lot lighter. I can grab that a lot easier, right? That is one way to hit them. Second way, my personal favorite, is when I go in for that leg grab, I chop my other arm down across the top of their thigh, hitting that the front part of the thigh to give them the Charlie horse, right? And then my other arm grab the leg. Again, because when you hit somebody really hard, their their natural reflex is to take that body part away from you. They won't be thinking about dropping all their weight on it. When you hit it really hard, that leg is going to, oh, ow, that hurt. And that's your chance to grab that. That's a lot lighter than trying to deadlift that leg. So, number one, always remember you want to hit them first before you go for that single leg grab. Number two, enter the right way, which means enter with the same side that you're grabbing. Let me explain this a little bit more detail. If I'm facing the person and I'm going for their left leg, which means I'll be grabbing with my right arm, right? Well, maybe not, but that we'll go back to that in uh, tip number three. But tip number two, okay, I'm going to use my right arm. Some people make the mistake of shuffling in with their left foot. Okay, because this makes sense uh, instinctually. When the other person's left foot is toward you, the left foot is forward. If you want to shuffle in, you kind of feel that you have to shuffle in with your left foot too, because this way you won't trip over their foot. Okay, don't do that. When you enter for that leg grab, if you're going to grab with your right arm, you always shuffle in with your right leg. Okay, if you are grabbing with your left arm, you shuffle in with your left leg. This, the reason why for this will become even more obvious when we get to tip number 4. But I'll give you guys one major reason right now is when if I'm grabbing with my right arm and I shuffle in with my left leg rather than the right leg, there's a big chance that that person's leg, when I grab it, is going to come right up between my leg and kick me in the groin. I don't want that, right? So if I shuffle in with my right leg while fishing for it with my right arm, that leg will always end up outside my hip. It will never hit my groin. Okay? This is one big reason. Okay? Another reason is if I shuffle in with my left and grab with my right, I leave my whole side of my body open and close to them for the knee strike, for the elbow, all kind of stuff, right? Because I am kind of at a really weird angle. But if I shuffle in with my right, while I grab with the right, I can put up a very good defense and I can keep a good distance between me and them. Okay, I have more reach. So, tip number 2, remember that. Whichever arm you're going to grab with, you want to shuffle in with that foot. Tip number 3. Okay, so this is where I said you always want to grab from the outside. But tip number 3, uh, that is it. You need to grab the leg from the outside, which means okay, here's my leg, uh, my left leg. Okay, if you want to grab my left leg, you need to use your right arm. So you come in from the outside. You don't come grab from the inside with your left arm. Some people do that. I'm not going to say that they do it wrong. If it worked for them, it worked for them. But it's going to be very, very tough for most people to grab it with the opposite arm. Why is that? Because human leg is a lot stronger going one way than the other. And usually people can close their leg, move their leg in a lot harder than they can open them, right? So if I grab from the outside, I won't have to fight that entire musculature from closing in. The moment someone tries to grab you from the inside and you bear down like you're squeezing your legs together, they can't move you, right? So if you grab from the outside, you avoid that problem. You avoid that problem. Let me show you guys a little experiment. Hopefully you guys can see this on camera. Okay, I have I have my foot up on the base of the dummy here, like I'm going to do a stairmaster. Okay, so my foot is up and my knees bent like this. So if I push on the inside of my thigh, hardly move, right? Because my leg is very strong going this way. But if I push on the outside of my leg, yeah, I fall off the block, right? So human leg is stronger going one way than the other. So this is why tip number 3, when you grab, you always want to grab from the outside in, never inside out. Again, if you've been doing that from inside out and it worked for you, great. But for most people, that's a lot of extra work. Number 4, again, I said we are going to address this in tip number 2, enter with the same side, okay? Because this is really big part to do with number 4, which is don't lift with your arm, okay? Lift with your leg. Your arm, I don't care how big your arms are, your arm's not going to out muscle someone's leg, especially in a fight. You're not out there fighting babies or like people a lot smaller than yourself. You're most likely you're fighting someone your own size, hopefully, or someone a lot bigger. So your arm is not going to out muscle their leg. So when you go in and grab the leg, don't do this pull with your arm thing. It will never work. It may work in training because when I'm training with people, when they grab my leg, I let them pick it up, right? I don't want to make it too much work for my partner. Otherwise, after a 10-minute drill, we're both going to be really tired, right? So I make it easy for them in training just so they don't gas out in the first 10 minutes. But when you actually do this in a fight, don't just pull it with your arm. Okay, this is why we shuffle and lunge in. Okay, we lunge in nice and low, grab it, and then drive up with our leg. Then lift with your back and your leg. You don't ever lift with your arm. Your arm is not going to pick up someone's leg. And this is why we need to enter on the same side. Because if I shuffle in with my left and reach and grab with my right, my body is already out of alignment. I'm all kind of twisted around like this. So even if I lift properly, it's mostly my lower back that's doing the work. I'm going to hurt myself, right? If I shuffle in with my right, nice deep lunge, grab with my right arm, then I am perfectly lined up. I push with my leg, straighten my back, and up comes the leg, right? Tip number 5. This is the one that a lot of people neglect, and they wonder why. Okay, I picked up the guy's leg, but why is he just standing there? Why isn't this working? Tip number 5. After you grab the leg, make sure you move. Okay, you don't just stay there. Okay, you can trip the person, you can push them, but the easiest thing for you to do is once you get a hold of the leg, you start moving around. You start moving around, yanking the person's leg. Right? You do that several times. They'll go down. They'll go down. Even if they don't go down, they'll get so tired trying to hop after you that they won't have energy to fight you anymore, right? So once you get a hold of the leg, start moving and don't just move forward and back, okay? Forward and back, it's easy for the person to follow you. Move to the side, move around in a circle, right? Grab onto their leg and run circle around them. They'll go down, no question about that, okay? So, quick recap. Number 1, tip number 1, hit them before you grab. Tip number 2, shuffle in, grab with the same side leg when you grab. Tip number 3, always grab from the outside in, not from the inside out. Tip number 4, lift with your leg and back. Don't use your arm. And tip number 5, once you get the leg, when you get a hold of the leg, start moving, running away, move circle around them. Thank you for checking out today's Tactical Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. For now, have a good rest of the afternoon.